for anyone. So, all right, we're good to go.
Approval of minutes. Right.
Anyone have a motion on the approval of the minutes?
I can make a motion to approve.
It's Angel, I'll second.
We're waiting for the visitor comments, so we will skip to old business. Right? Is that right?
Yep, we will. We can actually, I think Ray might be here. Let's see who we got. Look at that.
Just
Ray,
in time.
we're just in time. So I'm going to bring Ray Golick into the meeting. Ray is our area engineer from the county. And Ray, I assume Charles Steen is your extra guest that you were talking about?
Yes, yes, he should be here any second now.
All right, so he should be joining us. So folks from Old Orchard, again, Ray Golick is our area engineer from St. Louis County. And so he is here to talk about the road diet, as we've called it, with Big Bend. So I wanted to make sure to introduce him. He's been an incredible asset for the county and sort of keeps us up to date on some of those things. So he knows far more than I do. If you think I know just a little, that's because Ray knows a lot. So Ray, I'll turn it over to you and Charles.
Okay, Charlie, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me, Ray?
Yes, yes. So yes, we do have the Big Bend project. It is proposed to start construction in April of 2024, and construction is proposed to end in February of 2025. And it extends from Laclede Station Road to East Lockwood Avenue. And we are going to make some road diet changes, as Eric had mentioned, through the Old Orchard area. We are going to include parking lanes on both sides of the street permanently, instead of doing the hourly or the parking lanes that are changed from hour to hour or from rush hour to rush hour. And so that will be an improvement for the pedestrians, and I think for the businesses as well. So they'll have parking the whole time. Charlie, do you have some info there?
Sure. You mean the concept sketch?
Yeah, that would work good.
Okay, hold on a minute.
And as Charlie and Ray, as you pull that up, we did brief Old Orchard I think it was last month or potentially January. I can't remember which meeting it was, but so they have a concept here, but I know Murdoch's intersection, and then obviously the intersection around my tongue, Old Orchard, right around Gazebo Park, is always a curious intersection for us all to talk about pedestrian issues on. So.
If you would, please tell me if you can see that.
We certainly can.
Okay. Have you seen this sketch before?
We have not.
Okay. Well, I don't think it shows a whole lot, but basically through the Old Orchard Business District, it used to be, well, for many years, it had, parking that was disallowed during directional rush hours. And this concept would get rid of that. And there would be, I don't know if you can see, there's like a permanent parking along there, and it's just one lane each direction. Can you see that? Is it zoomed in enough?
Yes, we can.
Okay. And then if you go northeast of Murdoch, then it would just become a 3-lane road with parking on the, I guess, north side only. Can you see that?
We can, and that if you zoom in just a little bit, Charlie, is that center lane is going to be the left-right turn lane? Is that correct? Out of the 3 traffic lanes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And does that extend all the way down to Laclede then?
I don't remember. I think it does. Hold on a minute.
Just giving everyone making sure I was right a month ago. So.
Yes, it does extend to Laclede.
All right.
And that's parallel parking all along there, right? It's not diagonal.
That is correct. Parallel parking.
Okay. This is a little bit offset subject, but I have the building at 8169 Big Bend that sits in the front of Bethesda. And that light on Old Orchard and Big Bend is a green light into our parking lot, and coming out is the same way. So people, they originally put that light because they thought it was gonna be a through street. But now it's a light going into my parking lot, and it has been for 25 years. But it's very confusing because it's a green light for people to leave our parking lot, and the people turning onto Big Bend from Old Orchard have a green light also. So it's like, and they're turning left. They're not going straight into our park. It's just something that's been there for years, and I was just wondering if along this plan, something could be done with it. Because it's a dangerous situation on top of that, because you get, if you're in my parking lot, it's a green light to go straight out. But the people on the roads don't know that. They can't see that green light. They just make a left or right in front of it. So anyway, that's a
Okay.
side note.
All righty, thank you for that.
Mhm.
I will have the signal people take a look at that.
Yeah, maybe an arrow or something, because it's a confusing thing. I know how to deal with it, but nobody else does.
Okay, while we're on this subject, can I share my screen for something else that I wanted to cover with the city?
Yeah, sure, Charlie, just real quick, can you just highlight for us, because I know Angel's gonna ask about this, can we go back to Murdoch and just sort of zoom in on the intersection of what traffic flow will look like around that space? Oh, you're a little, right there, that intersection right there. Where the yellow gets a little wide. So is the blow-by lane still existing on the north side there? You see what I'm talking about? On the north part of that intersection?
Well, on the west side of the north part of the intersection, maybe you can't see, but there's a white line that will come out from the curb to taper and begin the parking lane.
Right.
So, yeah, as you go westbound, the farthest north lane, the outside lane, will be the through lane, and the lane that is just south of the north lane will be left turn to go south on Murdoch.
And then I assume then that those will be painted on the ground, the left turn arrow only and straight arrow will be painted on the asphalt.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then Angel, I know you will ask about the south side of that road, so. Oh, you're muted, Angel.
Good morning, I'm Angel. I'm the hospital administrator at the Webster Groves Animal Hospital. And that is crossing Big Bend there is extremely dangerous for us, not just me, but many people almost get hit there all the time. If you look at the corner, as somebody is going from Big Bend and heading over to 44, you can even see how cars clip that corner pretty bad. So it's not a real safe place at all to cross. So I didn't know if anything was going to be, I don't believe there's a pedestrian sign even there posted. A giant flashing stoplight would be wonderful, teasing, but something, because it is pretty dangerous to cut across, to even walk across there. So I didn't know if anything was going to be addressed by that. It's kind of a topic of the employees. So I park behind Balkan. We have close to 100 staff members at the animal hospital. And of course, we don't have that capability to have that parking in our lot. So they park along Frisco, and then they park in the city parking lot behind Balkan in that area. So we do have quite a bit of our own traffic coming over there from employee standpoint, but it's pretty dangerous, and it's kind of a joke at the animal hospital, to be honest with you.
John Barr would say the same thing across the
Yeah.
street. Their customers have to dash across there and dodge cars.
Yeah, and that's actually right across from John. That's another topic right there. Is that log cabin, I think is what it is. It goes on to Big Bend. I'm trying to remember names of streets, but the pedestrian area that crosses from Balkan over to Frisco, his bar there is an issue for John, because cars pull out of and can't really see coming out right there in that corner. And I know we've addressed that by kind of removing a parking space there at Vulcan, but he has problems on that area because you have to go all the way down to that stoplight that, there on the other end by you, actually. Yeah. And so now it's pretty bad though. It's like I said, so I didn't know if anything was going to be addressed or has been looked at for it.
Well, I can ask people to look at it. My initial reaction would be that it sounds like police enforcement is needed because it's a three-way stop intersection. Every vehicle that enters the intersection should be coming to a full, complete stop before executing any through or turning movements. I know it's a right-hand turn if you're going eastbound to southbound, but my initial reaction is that it sounds like it needs police enforcement, but I can take that to the traffic people and tell them the concern.
Thank you. Even if it's striped differently at a better pedestrian type situation, because and I know that we've had many, many, many conversations, and the police do and have upped being there, but it is you're notorious to, especially when people turning on to Big Bend. I just have to wait there and act like I'm a crazy person for a while. And even at that, people always wave at you and go, whoops, sorry, but you're already out in the middle of the road. So on a personal level, it's weekly that somebody almost has an issue, for myself anyway.
Okay.
And then Charlie, since we just talked about log cabin, help me out, Officer Razul, did we paint a sidewalk, a crosswalk at log cabin there?
Yeah, there's a crosswalk.
Right, so there's a crosswalk. It's probably not on your drawing, but at log cabin, it's a mid-block crosswalk somewhere across Big Bend at log cabin. And so just to highlight for you that was a measure that was added at some point in the last year or two.
And I think
Yes.
there's a pedestrian sign marking that one, but I don't recall anything alerting drivers there at the Murdoch Big Bend, though. So even maybe a different striping and the pedestrian, who knows, but it's been an issue. Somebody is going to get hurt. I have no doubt about it. A pedestrian wise, it's going to happen.
If I can jump in real quick.
Charlie, this is Officer Razul from our police department. He's just got a comment quick.
Okay.
So as far as the crosswalk that's right in front of Balkan and goes across to Frisco, I have monitored that due to multiple complaints. First of all, nobody uses that crosswalk. They walk just random places to go across, but they will avoid that crosswalk because it's a very inconvenient place for it. I have probably sat there for 2 weeks at different times. I have written maybe one ticket because nobody uses it and nobody actually knows that they have to be in the crosswalk for the vehicles have to stop. And the ones that are not using it, they're just jaywalking, so. But we are monitoring it as much as we can as far as enforcement go, but that area, it is kind of a safety issue.
All right, thank you.
I'm a jaywalker because it is safer, especially when you're walking a dog with you to work. It's just easier.
Charlie, I didn't mean to sidetrack you. You were going to show us something, but I know
That's
that's been
okay.
an issue. So
No. We need to cover everything.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to switch my screen to something else here. Let's see. Okay, can you see my screen still?
yes, we can.
So on our Big Bend job, we're going to resurface it and put in some better ADA compliant ramps. And we're not well, like Ray said, we're not gonna be building until 2024, so these are still, I guess you'd call preliminary plans. I mean, they're right-of-way plans. It's the middle stage of design. Anyway, so I might have to zoom in a little, but like this is the west end of the job, and it shows where they're putting some new ramps in at Lockwood.
Mhm.
And then we go to the next page. Okay, so here's Old Orchard, and we've got various locations where we're putting in new ramps and bus stops. And when I sent the plans to the county construction division for review, they noted that this area has a decorative sidewalk, which is not county standard. And I assume, I don't know if that there was an agreement in 2004 that the city would maintain the decorative sidewalk. And yeah, well, so many places have turnover. I don't know if people still working there are still there.
Yeah,
when the
sure,
agreement was signed. But anyway, so the construction division asked me to make sure, does the city know that these ramps and bus stops will be going in with limestone concrete, broom finish limestone concrete, county standard normal concrete, not the decorative concrete. And I said, I took over this job from somebody else. I said, I don't know if there's many discussion about that or not. So when Ray invited me, I wanted to bring that up.
Sure.
Are you aware of that?
I was not, but that is, Public Works maybe, but at the same point, I think Charlie, just going forward, we'd love to have that conversation. If we have to put a piece of the bill to make sure to get to the decorative standard, I'm sure that, from the business district's perspective, they probably would like it to match, but we are open to that, and we can continue that piece of figuring out, what pot of money needs to go from us into that project. I don't want to speak for Councilwoman Richardson, she's on, I know, but we in general have held that standard of trying to match the decorative features as best we can, if we have to put some money in.
Well, that's very kind. Thanks. Yeah. I don't know, we don't use decorative concrete, so I wasn't even sure if it was a bad thing to have the ramps sort of highlighted with white concrete or normal looking concrete. I thought maybe it'd be okay, but I don't feel strongly about it either way. I don't have any experience with it, but thank you for listening to me.
No, Charlie, I appreciate it. And I don't think we've had this issue come up in a big way through Old Orchard. Has it been an issue where you've?
No, I just, the decorative part is a pain because we had a sewer problem and had to replace it with the exact color match. I mean, to do a 5x5 square cost a couple $1,000s. So I'd first say no decorative on the ramps. I mean, I'm just a guy down there, but it becomes a much bigger hassle down the road. And right now you can see some spots that have been, there's gravel in there because it's such a pain. I mean, it's ridiculous to replace a 5x5 square that has been torn up because of it has to match, and it's, concrete companies don't want to deal with it because it's a color type thing. I mean, I would say decorative is not good moving forward as a personal business owner down there.
Cosmetically, it's nice. It's
Charlie, I'll circle with Public Works. I don't think there's anything in our code. I'll see if we have a preference, and we'll circle back with you either way. But I think the biggest point for this group and for the city is that there are ramps and that they do work and meet ADA standards and such, and how do we safely move people around? So.
Okay, sorry about that ringing. Let me hang that up. Okay, thank you for that. I think that's all I had, unless you have more for me.
So Charlie, we did want, maybe it's back in your first screen. Can you identify what the striping and traffic flow will look like right in that area you've got up right now, right around Big Bend where Old Orchard and the sort of the western end will look like?
I'll go back to that. I don't think there was any changes once we get into that area. Yeah.
So we'll have it'll be a right turn only in the southernmost lane is what we're seeing though, correct?
You're correct. That is a change. Yeah,
Okay.
that would be right turn only, because on the east side of that intersection, again, maybe this doesn't show up real well, but there's this I don't know, well. it's
Putting a
not-
bump out in, it looks like, huh?
Yeah, it's some kind of polygon. Yeah, bump out, right. Yeah, and that's so, it's clear that there's parking on the south side of the road there. So yes, you're right. By definition, that on the west side of the intersection going eastbound, that has to turn right.
Sure. So then that should, for the members of the commission, for Officer Razul and others, that should slow traffic as well, coming up Old Orchard, trying to make the right onto Big Bend. Because I see a lot of that now, and Officer, I don't want to speak for you, but folks trying to hit the light and then they make that hard right off Old Orchard, and then they run immediately into parked cars and create more of a jam up there, thinking that they've got 2 lanes to roll into, so.
Yeah, it'll help.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, hopefully it will be improved.
And then Bob, you can help me out. Westbound Big Bend, right at your stoplight, sort of in front of Weber's there. Is that a left turn only, or is that a through lane, the middle lane?
That's through right now.
That's a through lane. And so is that intended to continue to be a through lane? Charlie, do you know which one I'm talking about, where that car is?
Yes, sir. I think it has to be just because of, well, just like in this aerial where the cars are parked, cars will be parked there. So I don't think we can make that a left only lane.
That's fine. I see one little white line in those 3 cars that are just behind it. Is that
Yes.
indicating that northernmost lane is gonna be additional capacity for through lanes, or is that parking all the way up near the proximity of the stop line?
No, the white line that you see that goes through those 3 cars should be the approximate location of the white edge line.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is a concept plan, so it's not fully developed, but it should look like that, yeah. And I'm thinking that's just because if someone is wanting to make a left, other people have to get through the intersection. I guess that's why it's like that.
Sure.
It's not my concept.
That's fine. I just wanted to highlight those little things that have been important to the group and make sure there weren't any questions as we talk about the various intersections.
Thank you.
I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Abby.
So I am with the Boulevard Hair Company across the street from Nearinks High School. This is just kind of a total out there question. Is the Bethesda building parking lot, is that a public parking lot or is that a private parking lot?
That is a private lot owned by Bethesda.
Now, is my lot considered private?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, because we just have a lot of people parking in that lot. And so now we have no parking.
Got it. So,
So-
Abby, we can, if you wish, chat, whoever your property owner is, I think I know off the top of my head, but if signs are.
Roseanne,
posted-
yeah.
Yeah, if signs are posted, Officer Razul, upon complaint, can ticket any inappropriate parkers. So,
Okay.
so if
Okay.
it says put parking for Boulevard or, Rogers Produce or whatever, all those things.
Yeah, we do have it. We do have it.
As long as you
labeled.
can verify to me that they're not an employee that. is
Well, a lot
regular.
of times it's from across the street, like not across the street. A lot of times they're from oh gosh, what's the building, the building right in the same parking lot? Because I know there was a curb that got cut and I didn't know if once that curb was taken out, if it all became public.
Nope.
Okay,
Just-
all
You
right.
can call
I
us anytime and I can take care of it.
Okay, in the summer, we work with Nearinks a lot and we park over there and they allow it, so that's not a problem. So you might hear from me next winter.
Hey. Ray and Charlie, are there other things you have to present, or I just want to make sure we get all the questions answered if folks had them?
I'm sorry, do I need to stop sharing screen?
No, actually, keep it up in case people got questions. How's that sound?
Okay.
Bob, are you good?
Yeah, yes.
I'll just look through here, folks from the commission or Councilmember Richardson, if you got questions, now's a good time. Silence is golden, Ray. So.
All right, well,
Ray and Charlie, thank you so very much. And again, let's just talk timeline quick. I know you mentioned 24. Is the striping happening with that in that project, or does that happen earlier, just so we have the timeline correct? Internally here at the city.
Right, the striping would be 25 because, we're probably not going to complete construction till 25. So that's when we would put the stripes down.
And so the construction is this polygon, obviously, but what other construction pieces that the sidewalks are all being redone, or what is construction? Help me understand that, to make sure we scope this right from our perspective.
Sure. Well, the pavement surface from Laclede Station to Lockwood is being completely milled up and repaved. So that, that's the bulk of the construction, but along with that, we are doing all necessary ADA ramp improvements. So it's primarily ramps, a few drive entrances, and then resurfacing the asphalt roadway. And then once that's done, the striping.
And as the signage changes, does that falls in that project too then? Because like south side of Big Bend, as you go east, the parking signs will have to all change and such. Is that all happens with striping?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And so we'll 2024, some point through this summer, are we paving? Is this a fall, do you think? I'm trying to give businesses a good sense of when the road might be torn up in front of them. If you know.
Well, I would assume in the summer. I mean, asphalt is temperature sensitive, and we typically don't pave past, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Thanksgiving. So yeah, it would be our plan to get it done, prior to cool weather in 2024.
And I know Ray will obviously keep in touch, but this is not a complete shutdown. They'll obviously try to keep traffic flowing on one part of the street, I would assume, while we're paving and such.
Yes, sir. That's a great point, and I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah, we try to always keep the traffic flow going. Unless it's a bridge job, we hardly ever do a complete shutdown.
This is Angel again. Can you scroll down a little bit to go down by Chamberlain and Novel Neighbor? We own the Wellness Center. I'm just curious again.
East,
very-
Charlie. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Little farther.
Yep, keep going. Right there, that intersection, that's,
Okay.
Okay, so parking is not going to be against the south side, correct?
Correct. Parking will be, yeah.
Okay, I'm just verifying because we have parking for the little animal hospital, but I believe some park along the street there. So I just wanted to verify that I understood it correctly. Thank you.
That's correct.
Okey-doke.
any other questions or comments, folks? All right, Charlie and Ray, thank you. Ray,
Okay.
we'll be in touch, and we'll, as we always do on all the projects, so.
Yeah. Okay. So
And
we'll
I-
help. Well, yes.
I'll get you an answer on the concrete issue, so.
Okay, and I'll get you an answer on the two traffic issues at the exiting the parking lot and at the Murdoch pedestrians. And it was nice to meet you all, and yeah, we'll stay in touch.
Thank you.
Thanks much.
Thanks, everyone.
You're welcome to stay for a thrilling meeting if you wish, so.
Yeah.
I'll take off.
All right,
Move on to old business.
why don't we go to gazebo series so I can reset the,
Okay,
well, let Fran talk as I change this all up here.
all right, so gazebo series, we've got the date set from August 18th to September 22nd, 6 weeks.
6
Um,
Fridays.
6 Fridays. Fran does most of the work of getting sponsors and that type of thing, so keep that in mind. If you know anybody that hasn't sponsored in the past, that we kind of lost some sponsorship last year, and the series keeps getting a little more expensive, so we're trying to figure out where that revenue is gonna come from. But, besides that, I don't know, Fran, do you have any further things on the gazebo?
No, I was gonna say the same thing you did, because I did a comparison of sponsors from 21 to 22. And while we retained some of the same folks, they didn't sponsor as much. So we got about $3,000 less. So we've been talking about starting earlier to look for sponsorships, but whatever you could do to talk to your business neighbors, maybe get somebody involved that wasn't involved last year, that would be a big help.
All right, well, we'll start working on the bands ASAP, and hopefully we'll be able to put out a schedule pretty soon, and then get going earlier on the advertising and the getting sponsors. Okay, now are you ready?
I'm ready, sorry, thank
Okay,
you.
that's right.
So, We're getting everything pulled together this morning here.
So
folks.
we've already taken care of Big Bend
That's
traffic
right, yeah.
pedestrian change.
So
Okay.
rooftop lighting, we keep encountering problems. So thanks to Public Works, we have 3 new whole electricians to deal with now that are doing quotes for Old Webster, which are incredibly slow as well. I know Old Webster will have something to say about that, but we should have. I'm crossing all my fingers and toes here, Holland and others. We should have all of our quotes back by the end of this week, hopefully early next week at the very latest. So I apologize. It has been rough trying to get this thing nailed down. Mostly Holland, like the example of fixing your lights on your building. It's so small that electricians are, we'd love to do the work, but we just aren't going to do the work because it's not enough work to do. And I was like, just an hour on a Friday, if you can give me an hour. So we hopefully will have this solved soon. So that's what I have for you on rooftop lighting.
All right. Then budget discussions.
Budget discussions. So I'm going to, rather than inundate you with paper, we're just going to, let me flip to, can everyone see my screen looks like a financial system? You should be able to. Let's get you here and get into the budget process. So we did, after your budget forecasting area, your budget that we created for you last time is all entered, and I'm going to scroll down and find your, why is everything in the way this morning? Old Orchard budget, where are we at here, right? Let's go here, there we are. So we have your budget entered here in expenses. With the changes that we talked about last week on your last time on your system. I'm going to make this a little bigger if I can. So we have the advertising at 15,000 right now. So I made all the changes that you made last time.
Okay.
My point being is that you don't have any issues with tip my tongue. You don't have any issues with your fund balance this year. The Parks Department is planning to do all your baskets as normal. We have funds to take care of that. I don't foresee any issue there. I think that the budget is pretty well set and ready to go. So I can do a printout here and pull it up on screen so you can see it easier if you give me 2 seconds. Otherwise, Bob, I don't have any other changes that I'm suggesting. So if members want to see it, I can pull it up. Just let me know. So.
I'm good with it.
Anyone else want to see it or are we good?
I'm good. It's Angel.
I'm good.
All right. And I did want to mention Steve is here. I gave him permission to talk, so Steve has joined us. He was on the meeting during the conversation with the county, so. All right, so just give me 2 seconds here. We'll give you the full screen so you can see it. Well, no, new work. This is how we budget at the city, folks, as we pull things up as we go. So I'm joking. Right here, you should see this on your screen. We estimate your revenue come in at with the transfer at 22,000 to the positive. We have your estimate, your expenses set at 42,000. So you're spending about 20,000 out of your fund balance.
We're not seeing that, Eric.
Okay, that's fine. Let me switch the share and I will. Why don't I see? Now you should be able to see it. Can you see it now?
Yes, thank
All
you.
right, no problem. So your revenues on top here, again, expecting about 40,000 in property taxes, 20,000 in business licenses, some interest income for your funds that are held at the bank. And then, so 22,000 to the good in revenue, and then here are your expenses grouped in their categories. I just want to be clear, if you have other things that come up in the year, you want to spend more on gazebo, you want to do more rooftop lighting than what's in here, we can always amend the budget and add funds. You have savings, fund balance, as we call it. Doesn't take long to be able to do that. So. So we do, Bob, we should just vote and say the budget.
Okay, all in favor for the budget?
Aye, Angel.
I can second or vote yes.
Any other issues, folks? Good. All right, all right. Hey, we did that part.
Right, new business.
We have no new business.
One small note, John Barr and I are gonna get together with Tim Galante about collaborating on some of these. We're gonna do that before the April meeting, the day before, I hope. So we might talk about a little more about doing things the same time or different times, or just trying to be more of Webster than Old Webster and Old Orchard and Crossings, so. Anyway, that, if anybody wants to join us, put their input, we're meeting April 10th at 2:00 in the afternoon, not sure where yet, but I can let anybody know who would be interested in joining in with us on that. Okay, BDC update.
BDC has lively conversations going on. Fran, I think you could call, we agree that that's the word I would use. Couple good things from BDC. First of all, you do have, why can't I think of the name right now? Holland, your staff member, she's on the BDC now.
Oh,
Stephanie Ski.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you.
Stephanie.
Stephanie has joined the group, so that is very good to have. All three business districts now have a representative on the BDC, which is good. BDC, obviously, Work in Webster Groves is continuing on. That's our, was our biggest launch of an initiative there. So feel free to use it. Free job postings for all the staff, for all your openings, any business or entity in the city. The city's right now, and we're just about starting our next wave of advertising. So we're almost $20,000 into advertising Work in Webster Groves. And so that's out to job seekers, right, as a place to go to find job openings here in Webster Groves. So again, we're really happy with the success of that. Engagement has jumped well. And also are talking with our website about making some upgrades. So hopefully that you as business owners, relatively, I should say free updates, really just working on some processes. Business owners can control their own posting rather than having staff here at City Hall, replicating it for them and such like that. So very much like Indeed, essentially, in a way. There's a business engagement subcommittee that's meeting with BDC, and I expect the BDC to approve going forward with our next business roundtable or a summit. Really, I think it's going to be more like a coffee. If you remember, back in November of 21, we held a business roundtable in Webster University for the city, and I do expect them to move forward with another business summit, sort of talking about farther out of COVID and now dealing with inflation. What's next? What's really facing the business community, and what can the city do to help and provide resources around? So those, I think, are the big things. We also are working on it started off as a QR code for folks that, I'll use a Old Webster. Well, I'll use Bob as an example. If I'm at Weber's and I'm, I don't know where to go next to shop, rather than just wandering around, it would give you a sense of a walkable map of a way of places to look for. We heard from a couple owners that a lot of staff don't know, right? I mean, some staff are right from Webster U. They may not know the full selection across town. So that'd be a citywide type of deal and entity. So That's my, Fran, have I missed anything on BDC?
No.
Okay, there we go. That's BDC.
All right, city update.
Councilwoman Richardson, I'll let you go first.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. One thing that's exciting that's happening is the designing of the new pool. The master design process is well underway and we have some proposals considering, and the public input is continuing there since there've been some public input sessions already, but we're going to go for another round, I believe, because there are some kind of big decisions to be made about whether or not to put a roof over the lap swim pool or some of the other features and things that are being considered. So keep an eye out for that if you or your families are interested. We also are kind of entering the budget season, so that will be a big topic, obviously, for the next few months. And eager to hear if folks have input. We will be doing the balancing act tool again this year, and I think we might even see that used in other ways that Eric may talk about as well. But yeah, there's plenty going on. We have council meeting next Tuesday. Expect it to be a good session, spring break and all. But happy to answer any questions or address any concerns that you might have.
Well, just a quick add-on. Yes, you will see the balancing act, which is the gamification tool we use for the budget to let people, go through the hard work of budgeting, right? How do we balance the revenue and expenditures? You'll see that hopefully later this week. That'll be out. We've gotten most of the estimates now that we need to be able to put that out. It'll be out for a good solid, at least 3, maybe 4 weeks before the budget's introduced in mid-April to give feedback to the manager and the city council. I did want to just mention ARP funds and the conversation we had about pedestrian issues along Big Bend. Angel, I know, and I've taken some notes. We don't need to formalize this, but there is some money the council has set aside for pedestrian traffic calming type of issues. Signs don't always work to do exactly what we hope they're going to do, right? I mean, we can't legislate people to do the right thing, but if there are some of those features that, like the little stand-up pedestrian crossing signs like I think you're talking about, or the flashy signs, other things like that. Why don't we next month just talk about that briefly? And then we can talk about if this group wants to recommend the Traffic Advisory Commission or to council on, hey, we need a few of those things, because we do have some money out of the federal funds to be able to do that. And that's a high intensity area where I think some of that would be a valued spend, so.
Thank you. Yeah.
Councilwoman?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry, and I did also want to just remind folks, we've got an election coming up first week of April, and we'll have a couple of issues on the ballot, including the new tax on recreational marijuana, which it's on the ballot for the county and for Webster Groves. So we'll have 2 separate issues to vote on there, plus the school board election. And I believe that's all that's on our ballot this time, but that's coming up the first week of April.
Is Webster doing the match of 3%, is the same as the county? Is that what they're
Yes.
looking?
Yes.
And you all should know, when we look at potential places for a recreational dispensary, Yorkshire, of course, is the big open space that's very easy to site a dispensary, but Old Orchard exists in a bubble where there's just enough space away from schools and churches that a piece of Old Orchard, really right around the Murdoch area, in that space exists as a possibility. Now, I don't think there's any openings to move in there, but I just want you all to be aware. So, Angel, we were talking about pedestrians, and I think you good?
That's fine. Thank you. I'm glad to revisit it again, or anything we can do for that piece. So, one other question while we're on can't think of the car dealership, that little brick building across the street.
Yes.
What's happening with that, or do we know, or has it already been announced, or?
Is that the Telly Tire building, or are you talking about the one on the other side of the street?
North side of the street.
North side of the street. I'm not up to speed on what's there.
So Telly Tire did not buy that side of the property, so that has been separated. So I believe it is sold, but I do not have an update on what the plans are and such. I haven't heard anything from Mara either in terms of a submitted plan or any changes, that are of major note.
Sure, just out of curiosity.
Can you repeat that? A girlfriend of mine said that she's actually putting a salon in that space.
So, yeah, on the north side, sorry, I should qualify my statement. On the north side of Big Bend, what used to be part of the Subaru show lot and such, that piece, Telly Tire did not buy. Another investor bought that space. We haven't had any, what I would call major permits, meaning that, reconstruct parking lot, a whole new building or something. I do know that there's been construction going on there, and I do believe that there's a business moving in. The salon that you mentioned, Abby, is moving into the existing space, but there hasn't been any major reconstruction permits pulled as far as I'm aware.
I do have one question also. So we took a look at the building across the street from the Waterloo, that's where I live. At the the Webster Groves Animal Hospital, the big 27,000 square foot building right there. We decided against it just because it's really congested in that area, of course, like y'all have been saying. However, I know that there's been other people looking at it for potential condos. Is that something that is going to be able to be put there? I'm just thinking for I'm down on the further end of the street, but we do travel down to that area and it is very congested.
It's a Telly Tire, right? That's Telly.
Yeah,
Tire.
it's right before Kelly Tires. It's the big brick building across the street from Webster Groves Animal Hospital. It has the 2 trees in the front of it. There's a dental office right there. There's a dental office in there right now.
The old bank building, right?
Yeah, it was an old bank. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you
So,
guys have any idea? I know that the gentleman's wanting to put it on the market again. That was going to put condos on it. However, I mean, at the price point they're asking, the only person that's going to purchase it is if they can go up with it.
right. I mean, that whole lot in that area, there's nothing been filed with us that I'm aware of. And so this is all hypothetical conversation, but you have to look at the deepness of that lot, and there would have to be some vertical build if they're going to probably make condos be economical in any way. So, I'm not saying 5-6 stories, but you're going to have to go up beyond the 1 story or the 2 story, type of norm. So, but I haven't heard any major plans. I heard some hypothetical plans about a year ago. And of course, there's always the conversation, is that where a grocery store is going to go? There's a developer that talked about that at one point, about dropping a Trader Joe's or a Whole Foods in that space, with mixed use, residential above. But those have all been very preliminary hypothetical conversations. You have to get deep on that lot to be able to handle the parking and all those things, and to bring that kind of space in. And do you have enough property acquisition? Is the economics going to work out, to be able to do that? So.
Yeah, just wondering.
Yeah.
Anything else for city?
Officer Azul, anything from your? Everyone's parking legally and
No.
no? Okay.
He needs to work.
All
That's
right.
job security, right? Job
Yeah.
security.
Yeah.
All right, then we just set the next meeting for April 11th.
April 11th, that's set.
All right, motion to adjourn.
I motion.
I motion.
Great. See you on the 11th.
Thanks all. Steve, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
I have to run quickly.